Hello, this is Blake Thornhill, and I'm here to bring you another one of my videos. This time I'm going to be talking about public education reform. This is something that, if you know me personally, which my family and friends obviously do, you know that I'm very hardcore about public education reform. I feel that having been through the Clark County education system, or pretty much I feel that it just hasn't really benefited me that much. I know the basics. I don't remember any of the complicated things that they taught me because they spanned it over a course of years. Had they made me to where I had learned the complicated stuff first and gave me a reason to use it in my everyday life, there wouldn't be a problem. But I felt like I wasted 12 to 13 years actually of my life having only learned the basics, which at that point it's like, why not just put the complicated stuff in college? But I'll get to that part in a little bit. So here I wanted to stress the point of recognizing that the public education system is flawed. So what we need to do is we need to come up with some solutions on how to fix that. So I have a list of things that we can do to pretty much do that. Now, I don't know if anyone's going to take my suggestions, but that's really all they are. But I think that based on thinking about them clearly, I have a pretty good idea that they would be effective in some way or another. So here we go. First, abolish the kindergarten through 12th grade system. I don't know about you guys, but I think that trying to judge a child based on their age rather than their intelligence level is stupid. And there's these videos that say we should help the kids as a whole and not the individual, and I think that that's complete BS. That is stupid. You can't help every child. It's a crusader's dream. You cannot. Some children just do not want to learn. They do not care. Some aren't as motivated, and some are incredibly motivated. Education needs to be a system based around the desire to pretty much expand upon the minds of the children who do wish to learn. Education is a right. It is not should not be a mandatory practice that should be thrown on children. It should not be required by law to have a child be educated. If a child is stupid and does not want to be educated, that's their own problem. Let the bad children suffer. Education should be a choice. And for those who want to learn, they should have the ability to choose their own pace. And there's many options you can do that. Computer programs, pamphlets, and even special classes that would cater to this. You can make it an experiment to see how well it works. And I guarantee if you do that and you let the child progress at their own level instead of slapping a number on it, you're going to have a lot more intelligent people than what we do right now. We're going to have a lot more devoted, intelligent people. We're not going to have the half-assers who go through school, go, okay, well, I'm learning, and then they get out and they don't have any kind of incentive. And admittedly, I feel like I'm one of those people. I don't want to be one of those people, but I feel like that's what the K through 12 system made me. It's a flawed system. So we need to abolish that and replace it with something that's going to work, something that's more based around the learning levels of individual students without being too extraneous or difficult. And there's a way to do it, but that's up to you to decide. Next, eliminate frivolous programs. Make them after school. Okay, art, keyboarding, home economics, journalism. Every one of these job or hobby-based classes have nothing to do with being educated. They have something to do with expanding the mind. These are things that should be done after school. A child should not be kept in school. School is not the babysitter for children. I mean, if the parents suck that bad, then I feel sorry for the kid. But there are ways that we could open new jobs by having after-school programs where these teachers who are working in the school conditions that they get to deal with kids who want to be passionate about hobbies, and they're not there to just be in a school environment. They're there to embrace a passion that they really want to do. And in that case, you can expand the options because you're not having to pay extra money for every last one of those programs. Whereas with the school system, they can only pick so many different programs because they only have so much money to spend. but it's already a frivolous amount of spending. So by making it after school and not part of the education system, you would essentially save a lot of money on education, and that money could go to basically parks and recreation or who knows what. But there are people who should be doing this thing after school to kids who care. It's all about the choice of the child. That's how education should work. Next, replace the bad teachers with good teachers or pamphlets or computers. That means a teacher who serves their own interests, who treats their children like garbage, who demands too much from their children, who doesn't teach the program right, and in my opinion, teachers who aren't passionate about what they teach. I'm sorry, I only go into history class with a guy who's nervously looking at the class, and he just basically mentioned the details. History should be a fun class. You're learning about the development of society and cultures throughout the world. It should be something fun. It shouldn't be something that's made boring. But that's beside the point. That's personal preference. But a bad teacher is easy to spot. There's too many bad teachers that get to keep their job and too many good teachers who are not getting the positions, and they're obviously ready and willing and available, and they're not getting the job. Just fire the bad teachers, give the good teachers the jobs, and if you can't hire any good teachers or don't have the money to do it, then go with pamphlets or computers. I was in a private school, and it wasn't the best school in the world. I mean, the staff was corrupt and biased against the bad kids, even though they were supposed to be a Christian school. And I always got the brunt of being blamed. But as far as education went, I was a pretty smart kid when it came to the pamphlets. It was easy to do, easy to fill out, read everything, be learned. You kept it all in your head. It was very informative. You don't need teachers to do it. You can use pamphlets. Or if you want to save on paper, you can go with computers. And that'll lead to one of the points that I'm going to mention in a little bit. So I'm saying that there's 3 options right there on the table for you to replace the bad teachers with, and that's going to make better use of your money. Next, eliminate the need for books by making laptops the standard resource tool. Yeah, that's pretty much what I meant by the computers. You have all these books being used, and you have all this paper being wasted. Schools can't keep updating the materials, so they end up with books that are years old, back in like the late 80s sometimes. Sometimes even back in the 60s, depending on what kind of state it is. So what I'm saying is, ditch the books, and in the states that can afford it, they need to just let students bring their own laptops, and then the students will be responsible for downloading all the materials, such as reading material, report material, any kind of learning material at all will be the responsibility of student, unless the teacher wants to provide it and download it to them. And then they're able to basically learn from the laptops. And this will be cheaper because even though you're initially paying for more laptops, at the same time, you're only paying that initial payment for the laptops. You're not wasting paper, and it's a very efficient tool. You don't have to carry all the books around your backpack. You don't have to have a locker. You just have the laptop in a little holder. And you just carry it around with you, lightweight compared to everything else that you're holding, much more efficient use. And it'll be much cheaper. All the school will have to do is pay for the electricity at that point as far as resource goes. And, it's not going to go up that much more, honestly. So that's my take on that. Make parents pay for sports programs. The reason I say it is because sports programs do not societally benefit the minds of children. All they are is entertainment. In a way, they could benefit through, I guess, learning how to act as a team. But that's more so of an idealistic approach rather than a realistic approach. But that's up to you as far as opinion. But the thing is, people like sports because it entertains them. And what do you do when you have entertainment? You pay for it. But the difference between actual entertainment, where you go out and watch a pro team, and the sports teams is that the pro teams are being supported by companies, by all kinds of companies through media and whatnot, the actual federations and corporations that run the sports. Whereas with the schools, the only thing that's paying for them is the schools themselves, and obviously that's a bunch of wasted spending. Why should the school have to pay for sports programs when it's been obvious that the teachers and the staff don't care about sports? They make the sports for the parents and the students. So what they should be done is, if the parents want that gear, the parents should have to pay for that gear so that their kid can play. And the reason I say this is because if you really care about your kid playing sport, you're going to care about them being geared up. You're going to care about basically making sure that they're going to go out every game in pretty much the top gear of what they need at the moment, you know? I don't see why it's the school's responsibility to have to pay for it because, like I said, they don't really care. You do. It's your choice to watch the sports. It should be your choice to support it by putting the money on it. That'll take the burden off the schools, and since you're sports, you're going to be funding local sports programs most likely, so you shouldn't feel all that bad. That's just personal there, but really, it would save so much money. Um, Make recess an all-age right for students. This is very important. I really do think that recess should not be just a elementary school thing. It should also be for junior high and high school level. And by those levels, I mean they're all going to be put together in one way, shape, or form. But I think that they should all have more than 10 minutes at a time between each class. That's stupid. They should have a lot more time to be able to function. They shouldn't have to rush to classes. And that leads to the point that because you're going to have less classes, you're not going to have to worry about as much time at school because you'll have more time for after-curricular. So you'll basically not have as much of a rush, and you'll have more time for recess. So it all fits together. And it helps the mind refresh and rejuvenate for the next class. So it's a benefit. I don't see why anybody would not want it. Penalize underperforming schools by giving incentives to charter schools, private schools, and homeschoolers. I mean, if a public school isn't doing good, why try to justify their actions? Give the incentives to the schools that are going to have the money and the means to teach the children right, until the public schools learn to overcome their issues by properly reforming themselves with, well, the things I mentioned. If they don't want to reform, if they don't want to fix things, well, then they shouldn't get the privileges. That's simple. And finally, create important classes like political awareness. Now, I know this isn't saving money, but I think that's the thing that should have money spent on it because political awareness is the most important thing in society. Well, one of the most important things in society. And the rule of politics is one of the two things you don't want to talk about is the very reason why the society is going to hell. We can't talk about politics, so we have no way of expressing our rights, and we have no way of putting that into effective play. We have to have people do it for us, and they end up being the wrong people. And with political awareness, everybody would be made smart, so they would all have a say-so in society, and they'd have the correct knowledge to be able to tackle political situations. Politics is not just a background thing. It affects us all. And if you think any different, you're a moron. There's absolutely no reason why politics should not be a part of society and why people should not be able to take criticism over their beliefs. I think that encouraging debating will strengthen intelligence in society. And this is the way to do it. But other than that, yeah, create important classes, things that are actually going to benefit people, not just frivolous classes. Things that are needed to be functioning in society, not things that can expand on your creativity via hobbies. That should be stuff that you should do in your spare time. The things that should be put into you are things that are going to benefit you as a person in society. And that's how it should work. Pretty much, that sums up my points, though. That's pretty much how I would fix the public education system. I'm sorry if I went really quick, but I'm running at 14 minutes now, so I have to end here. Anyway, I hope it helps you out, and thanks a lot. This is Thornhill signing out.